If you want to invest in a property, location, location, location. You guys hear that all the time. Amenities. What is around the area? That's what Ayanda is saying. The same applies when it comes to commercial property funding. And of course, walking the streets.
There has to be some level of due diligence that you do. So your offer has to be subject to you doing your due diligence. Because more often than not, they won't disclose all the information up front. As entrepreneurs, like you would find that like, no, like I don't want to go to the inner city, like, so like this building is dilapidated and stuff. That's exactly where the opportunity is, you know. Looking at these clients of ours, they were able to identify these as opportunities. They came to us and our vision is aligned because ours as well is to actually ensure that we have better conditions to share the special look, not only in Joburg, but in the country. Hence, we have all the offices around.
We finance properties across South Africa. We have 5 offices. We've just opened an office now in East London, making it the 6th one. Our current loan book is sitting at 4 billion, just under 4 billion. We've been in this business for almost 20 years. We know what we're doing and we love what we do. We do operate with at least 688 buildings. At the moment, this number is of course going up, and these are the stats as of last financial year. The most important thing about TUF is that we finance specific areas. Not to say that we won't support or finance or consider an area outside of these. It could be maybe 10 meters away outside of Forest Hill, for example. It's all about the deal. If you have the motivation, Ayanda has the time for you. Okay, so this is the part where I can ask Ayanda questions, and please just take down any that you might have so we can discuss them at the end. So how do you identify and assess a good property investment opportunity, and how does that make us different?
It starts with the location, you know. Location, you need to actually possess, or you need to actually have a product that is in a good location. The area must be within what you call a multi-sector economy. What that means is there has to be, like, for instance, there's a local government there, there's a clinic, there's a shopping center, there's what else?
Church.
There's a church.
Transport.
You know, closer to transport node. Because what that does for you as a potential investor in that particular property, it means if, for instance, the tourism sector is struggling, you still have, you know, potential tenants for your product. If government, you know, has issues, but you still have market. So that's what it is, talking about the multi-sector economy. More often than not, those become economically vibrant nodes, and you know that there's a market in those spaces. And that is why typically you would see TUF in the space, or traditionally we used to be in the spaces which are known as CBDs, you know. As much as Sai has mentioned that not necessarily there, we can actually look into other opportunities. For as long as it's a viable transaction, we are there. So the location, amenities around, multi-sector economy, understanding the neighborhood, security, and also the perception of the area. I always share the story that, you know, like I'm originally from Durban. So like when I came up to Joburg, all I knew about Hillbrow was like, don't go there. It is not safe. Don't go there, you know. But with my line of duty, like some of the investment opportunities were in Hillbrow, Yeoville, all those areas. So I started walking the area frequently, you know. Oh, like, hey, it's not as bad, you know. But the perception. So there was no chance from Durban I would actually look for an accommodation in Hillbrow, because of the perception. So it becomes important as well. What is the perception about the area? At high level, that becomes stuff that you need to look at as you try to identify, thank you very much, as you actually identify your opportunity to invest in.
And remember, guys, it's not just TUF's requirements. If you want to invest in a property, location, location, location. You guys hear that all the time. Amenities. What is around the area? That's what Ayanda is saying. The same applies when it comes to commercial property funding. And of course, walking the streets. When you go to view that property, it is not just a case of, hello, Mr. Estate, but we also need to be careful that we are doing things in our best interest. Maybe you would be nice enough to tell us everything that's wrong with that property, but have you done your own due diligence? Walk around, go to the neighbors, ask them, guys, what's happening in this place? 100%. We had a gentleman in Germiston who was taking a jog with his wife on a Sunday morning. He runs past this place and he says to his wife, hang on, let's go inside. It looks like an abandoned building. He goes inside, sure as hell, there was about 20 people squatting there. Long story cut short, they were selling that property for about 1.8 million. He managed to get the name of the owner. He pulled a wind deed or a Lightstone report. You guys should be familiar with this. And when he pulled that report, he got the owner's details, he found out the price, and you learn in negotiation. If it is one-way negotiation, it is not a negotiation. It must be back and forth. And he negotiated. He dropped them from 1.8 to 750,000.
Imagine.
He paid them, I don't want to mention the numbers, but he paid them some money and he managed to get them out because, guys, it's about being street smart. And if you have that skill, then tough is definitely for you.
100%.
Okay, so how do you identify a good investment opportunity? We spoke about this already. Location, local conditions, look beyond the surface.
Yeah.
Remember, it could be run down and dilapidated. Maybe when you go and visit that property, you want to be able to take a building inspector with you or a contractor so you know from the start what can be done to improve the conditions, and research.
Yeah. Adding on that as well, you definitely, when you do your site visits, you need to engage with the tenants. Like now we're talking about like, okay, you've identified your potential property that you want to, invest in. When you go to view that, you need to engage with the tenants. Like as I was saying, the estate agent, like they might be economical with the truth. So you might want
with the truth.
So you might want to, like just get from the horse's mouth, engage the tenants, find out what's happening and how much are they paying for rent, electricity, and all of those things. And also, security guard, if the property has, those are your gatekeepers. They will tell you almost everything. Yeah. And one last thing, when you are going there, it is ideal that you go with the contractor, depending on your level of experience, obviously. With the contractor who will actually help you cost your refurbishment costs. Because more often than not, you do need to actually have or to do some refurb work to get it to the, nice, good level, so to say. And maybe to elaborate a little bit on that side as well. There's a mistake that generally entrepreneurs will do, which is they assume that I can actually buy this property, it actually goes for 1.5 million, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to do refurbs later. That's the biggest mistake one could do. You actually want, as you actually take this thing up front, load, or rather like ensure that your capital outlay is calculated and is costed everything up front, so that you amortize everything from that capital, so that you know your repayment from there onwards. Because cash flows, or from your cash flows, you could hardly have a substantial amount of money that you would have that will help you with the refurbishments or do maintenance. So it's very important that you have your refurbs cost amongst your capital outlay upfront, so that it is loaded on your original, if I may call it, debt or loan, and then that becomes your total extent. But what's most importantly on that, you must be able to cost your refurbishment up front. So working in the building with the contractor works to your advantage on that one as well. That's all what we require. So when you come to us, what our refurbs look like, can we get a quotation?
And remember, with our products, so say for example you buy the property and now you want to build, you want to start doing renovations. It works on a drawdown basis. So say for example we've decided, according to the loan agreement, you're going to get 50,000 every month. You only pay the tough loan back once your building is ready. Is that correct, Ayanda?
100%.
So remember that in terms of numbers.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just in general, whether it's for tough or whether it's just for a normal resident a residential building. When it comes, we spoke about inspection, taking the contractor. When it comes to making the offer, Yanda, what's important to remember there?
What's very, 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 very important is that when you make an offer, there has to be some level of due diligence that you do. So your offer has to be subject to you doing your due diligence. Because more often than not, they won't disclose all the information up front. They might actually say, oh no, like, want to know the rentals? No, I'm getting 5,000 on this one. You know, like, call it the high level information. So now this is the opportunity to say, okay, based on what you're actually telling me, this is my offer, subject to doing a thorough due diligence. So what you then do, like you actually sign that OTP, then say, okay, can I get the rent rolls? Can I see the lease agreements? Can I see the approved building plans? Can I see the zoning? Okay, zoning is easy to get. That type of information. Because that then will actually tell you, you know, there's simple things like the delinquent tenants. You won't be able to actually know or see that until you see the rent roll. Because now you see one is 90 days in arrears, that's a red flag for you. You might be actually inheriting like problematic tenants. You know, on those bases, you might actually say, okay, no, Mr. Seller, I want a vacant occupation. Like, you know, all your tenants are owing you like a significant amount of money. I want vacant occupation. Or the building looks nah, but plans were not approved, were not submitted at council. That becomes an issue. Rather, do your proper due diligence before you can actually have a final offer to those guys. As actually Sai indicated that we walk the journey with you.